Good Friday morning. It's May 16th, and this is the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller, and I'm broadcasting to you from Southeast Virginia. Beautiful area, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Hampton Roads, serving Southeast Virginia, Northeast North Carolina. But as you will see today, my weather information that I'm going to share, this deeper dive into today's top weather headlines, it extends all across the country and in particular across the central U.S. We are bracing for another severe weather outbreak. So get ready, especially the central U.S. Eventually, we're going to find the chances for storms here in Hampton Roads later today as well. We do have a weather impact alert for Hampton Roads, and that's Southeast Virginia, the 7 cities, and into Northeast North Carolina. We're going to see pretty much the Mid-Atlantic region under the gun today, and again for tomorrow. Areas will also see at least a chance for some severe storms. We're also going to take some time a little later in the show to get into the 2025 hurricane season. There's a question: is FEMA ready for what could come our way later this summer with the Atlantic hurricane season? We'll have a story on that and a closer look at the hurricane hunters. Kind of a fun story showing you the planes that actually fly in and investigate these monster storms throughout the tropical season. We're going to start off, though, by taking a look at the severe weather and the fact that we do have a weather impact alert issued for Hampton Roads both today and tomorrow as another round of strong storms heads this way. I want to take you live outside right now, and things look pretty good, actually, across the south side right now. We've had some sunshine breaking through, but it is going to be hot today and humid. We're enjoying some sunshine right now, but that's adding to the heating that's going to take place, and that sets up some more instability this afternoon, and that's when things will start to change. We're going to find some rain and potentially some stronger winds, even some potential hail. Now, we'll jog your memory a little bit. Again, here in the Mid-Atlantic, we had hail about a week ago in Virginia Beach. You're taking a look at some of the hailstones that were falling, and we have had some isolated areas picking up hail, again, just over the past couple of days. Yesterday and the day before, we had some penny-sized hail up to about quarter-size hail. So we have seen some severe hail. This particular video here is from the Red Mill section of Virginia Beach. You can see in Red Mill, look at the accumulation of hail in Southgate. For a while last week, it looked like almost like snow kind of blanketing the ground. There's one more look at this hail from the Hunt Club. Again, larger hail there and some tree limbs down. That hail can do damage. So let's take a look at what's going on right now across the region. As I mentioned, it is quiet, so we're going to expand the view and show you a little bit of storminess breaking out. There's already a severe thunderstorm watch out for parts of Arkansas into southeast Missouri, the Boot Heel, northwest Tennessee into western parts of Kentucky. There have been numerous thunderstorm warnings along that line. You can see the big energy here, the area of low pressure spinning back up across the north central U.S. And as we take a look here, I'll loop it, you'll notice that energy right here spinning back and pivoting around that area of low pressure. We have a frontal boundary extending out from that, and that's going to be a focus for our severe weather outbreak across parts of the Ohio River Valley, the Tennessee River Valley, and the mid-Mississippi Valley later today. We're talking really serious storms, and we're going to dive into all of that. As you can see, though, there were a lot of storms. And look at all the hail reports, lots of wind damage, some isolated tornado reports coming in from Michigan. You'll notice several across Wisconsin. So it's not just Hampton Roads that's been experiencing the severe weather. The tornadoes have been ripping through the upper Midwest. This is a look at one of those twisters in New Richmond around Milwaukee. It touched down not far from a school bus full of kids. Pretty amazing. Even more severe weather is in store for that part of the country. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has a closer look at the damage and what's to come.
The lights started flickering and the power cut out.
This morning, new video shows the extent of the damage north of Milwaukee after damaging storms and tornadoes ripped through the upper Midwest.
I can see it swirling around and then that's when I run inside and get in the basement.
The tornado also causing significant damage in the city of Mayville, where officials warn damage to the power grid is so extensive the power could be out for 2 days. A twister also tearing up farmland near New Richmond. Children watching from inside their school bus. The tornado visible there in the distance. In Chicago, fans attending the Beyoncé concert at Soldier Field were evacuated, forced to run for cover as storms pounded the area, rain flowing down the stadium stairs. Today, the potential for severe weather stretches from East Texas all the way into the Northeast. The storms are helping firefighters battle 3 major fires in Minnesota after summer-like heat. Temperatures also setting records in Texas. The National Weather Service calling it one of the hottest May heat waves of all time.
I think it's going to continuously get warmer and warmer until we melt off the face of the earth.
Overnight, only minor injuries were reported from the tornadoes. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
All right, and I want to draw your attention to that line of storms that I mentioned back across portions of Arkansas and into Tennessee. There is a brand new tornado warning. It includes the cities of Big Lake, and you can see Chicksawaba. It looks like Blytheville and Gosnell in the counties of Craighead, Lauderdale, Mississippi, and Pemiscot. And there's about 58,000 people in that area that is under the warning, but that just popped up. So let me clear that off real quick, and we're going to take a look at this line of severe weather and talk about what's to come a little bit later on. We do have opportunities for more showers and those intense areas of rain, and then eventually you're going to find embedded thunderstorms in all of this as well. Again, this is the cell moving towards Chicksawaba, and it is moving off to the northeast here. So down across parts of northeast Arkansas into the westernmost portions of Tennessee, and you're going to find back up into Kentucky as well the potential for these severe storms. And again, that tornado warning right there. Notice multiple other thunderstorm warnings in this line between Hopkinsville and Madisonville over to Welch's Creek, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and over towards Elizabethtown. Severe weather there as well. Now, as we take a look again, we've got the watches. There's a line of storms right there again, moving from Arkansas into Tennessee and Kentucky. This area, a couple of watches out already, but I want to talk to you about the overall severe weather outlook. I'll just mention the Great Lakes region over through Milwaukee, that area that was hit so hard yesterday. They're still under a level 1 threat, but the big threat has shifted south. So we're going to focus on this area. And again, we've already got severe thunderstorm warnings and that 1 tornado warning in the northeast corner of Arkansas. This is the area where we talk about different levels of severe weather threat. Now, in general, there's 5 different levels that we are really concerned with. And a lot of times, you'll have a level 1 threat, what we call a marginal risk. When you get into the yellow, that level 2 threat is a slight risk. Typically, when you see a slight risk, you find watches are issued a lot of times when you get to that level 2 threat. When you get into this 3rd level, this orange level, it's an enhanced threat of severe weather, and there you expect to find numerous severe storms, whether they're thunderstorms or tornadoes or whatever. We take a look, and when you get to that level 3, you're expecting to find quite a lot of activity. Right now, we have a level 4, or what we'd call a moderate threat of severe weather, and widespread severe thunderstorms are likely to occur. And this is why we're saying, hey, there's going to be a severe weather outbreak for this portion, the mid-Mississippi Valley, the Ohio River Valley, and then parts of the Tennessee River Valley as well. So we've got this level 4 threat of severe storms. And when you take a look at the tornado potential in this area, you've got this area kind of hashed out. Again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 up to that 4th level where you have a 15% chance of a tornado forming within 25 miles of any given point. I mean, that is a really good chance for several tornadoes to develop here across portions, much of Kentucky, certainly all of western Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, southeast Missouri, areas like Cape Girardeau and Poplar Bluff, those areas down across the southeast part of Missouri, back down towards the Boot Heel. They are under it. You can see the north and northwest portions of Tennessee also likely to see these tornadoes. And where you see this area hashed out, this is where we have the potential for stronger tornadoes, and it's possible there could be a couple or a few long track tornadoes that touch down and they don't just hit and lift, but they get down on the ground and they stay down, and not just for a mile or two. You know, you get those typically with tornadoes that'll come down. Sometimes they lift very quickly, but sometimes they skid along. In this case, we could have some down for tens or dozens of miles. In some cases, you get those longer tracks. So certainly something that we're going to continue to watch very, very carefully. Now, as we zoom in and take a closer look, I just want to give you some of the towns that are most in jeopardy this afternoon and what we're looking at later today. Paducah through Louisville, Kentucky. These areas I'm thinking about traveling. 64, Interstate 64. My family lives back in St. Louis. I've already been in touch with my siblings and my mom, just asking about how bad it's going to be. And they actually have plans to camp down across Kentucky. They shifted a little farther south. They're going to be camping down in Tennessee. But I said, guys, you still have to stay weather aware. When we travel back and forth, 64 to St. Louis, that interstate is going to be heavily impacted with these severe storms. So just to give you an example there. Now, as we broaden the view here, you can see again, the level 1 threat for tornadoes extends all the way to Hampton Roads and to the East Coast and Mid-Atlantic there, up through Delaware and Maryland, southwest portions of Pennsylvania as well, and then it extends down to Texas. I want to switch things up, and we'll show you the wind potential. Now here, you're looking at, again, powerful gusty winds with these thunderstorms, and it's pretty much a certainty we're going to see some damaging wind gusts with some of the outflow from these storms. And this area hashed in, again, could see winds in excess of 75 miles per hour. So, you know, we consider that severe parameter, upper 50s. You get up around 58, 59 miles per hour, higher than that. That's where we typically start to see some damage. Sometimes you can get damage with lesser winds, but that's kind of the threshold. In this case, this hashed out area, we could see winds even greater than that, up to 70 or 75 more. There's going to be some bowing with some of these storms that develop. We'll have some of these returns, and where you get those bow echoes, it's indicative of this strong, powerful outflow. And those are damaging winds potentially associated with those bow echoes. So we're going to be watching for that. And then the hail potential, you can see from western Ohio across Indiana, southern Illinois, back through Missouri, Arkansas, and all the way down into northeast Texas. Now, you notice that wind potential was kind of greater a little bit out there. That's where the storms are out ahead of a cold front coming through. As you get closer to the front and this boundary coming in, that's where we have the potential for some of that larger hail. I'm going to talk a lot more about hail coming up in just a bit. Now, you can see the flood potential. There is a chance, not just possible, but likely some areas of flash flooding or excessive rainfall. All of Kentucky falls in this kind of second level. Most of Tennessee, western parts of Virginia, you get up into the mountains. Obviously, you see West Virginia concerned with that. And then again, feeding into southern Ohio there, the Ohio River Valley, back into southern Indiana and southern Illinois. The level 1 threat extends all the way up through the northeast, and there is a little bit where you get into that level 2 threat up into Maine. I will note, in Hampton Roads, we were under a level 1 threat when I came in early this morning. It's been kind of shifted a little farther west. So at this point, while we have the potential for severe weather here in Hampton Roads, it does look like that severe flooding potential or the excessive rainfall potential has shifted a little farther to the west. All right, as we take a look at why we've issued our local weather impact and our weather impact alert, this is going to be for today and again Saturday. We've got the two things going on. One, we're looking at a lot of heat and humidity. Parts of the southeast U.S. up through the mid-Atlantic, looking at very warm conditions. Some folks down south, where there's high pressure in control, more sunshine, it's just a very hot air mass, could see record highs over the next couple of days. For us, we're looking at temperatures topping out in the low 90s. That's hot for the mid-Atlantic. Our normal high is 77. So for Norfolk and Virginia Beach, these areas, we don't typically get into the low 90s this time of year. But the heat index, or the feels-like temperatures, are going to be in the upper 90s today and mid-90s tomorrow. And then we've got the possibility of strong storms coming through later this late afternoon and early evening across Hampton Roads and then we could see another round of storms with the front coming through late in the day tomorrow. So you need to stay weather aware and listen to your body with that heat. Now you take a look at the flood potential. We can take this map full because I want to get back over to the wall and talk some more about what's going on. You can see what's going on here. We do have that shifted flood potential, but here's our severe weather outlook. It's basically for the Virginia part of our viewing area, Southeast Virginia. We're under a level 2 or slight risk. Just a marginal threat for North Carolina, but as I'll show you using one of our models, I'm going to show you the HER model coming up in a little bit. That's the high-resolution rapid refresh model. We do have the potential for some stronger storms down to the south as well. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. Now, as we look at the tornado potential, again, it's a level 1 threat, not nearly as bad as what's going to happen back in the central U.S., those areas that were hashed out, and I told you they had like a level 3 and level 4 threat for tornadoes. We expect an outbreak in the central U.S. For this part of the country, Hampton Roads, Southeast Virginia, there could be an isolated tornado or maybe a couple of them here and there or some rotations. Something we'll be watching as some of that energy pushes through here, but it's not as bad as what they're looking at in the central U.S. Looking at the strong wind potential, level 2 threat, we could see some gusts. Again, as we've seen over the past couple of days with the thunderstorms down to the south, the threat a little bit lower. But again, you need to be on guard and stay weather aware down through northeast North Carolina. And again, the potential for hail, as we mentioned, it does exist, but mainly across southeast Virginia. While North Carolina needs to watch, you could see a couple of isolated areas with maybe a little bit of hail associated with it. It appears the better chances will be off to the north and to the northwest. So we're going to continue to watch that. As far as tomorrow goes, the entire 13 News Now viewing area under the level 2 threat. That's why we have our weather impact alert for tomorrow as well. So it's for later today, tonight, or during the evening, and then again later in the afternoon tomorrow. Now, the tornado potential for Saturday, again, still just level 1, but it's across the area. We also have the strong wind potential, and this is when the cold front comes through. The models have not been going crazy with producing a ton of storminess. They do show some development down across northeast North Carolina, but we may see that extend north. It's just simply with this strong front coming through and the very warm and unstable air ahead of it, it just makes sense to see some storms develop. And that's why SPC is going with this level 2 threat with that front pushing through what should be a fairly unstable atmosphere tomorrow afternoon. Regardless of what the models are showing right now, you have to be prepared for it, and that's why we've issued the weather impact alert. Now, you'll notice the large hail potential, Hampton Roads, parts of the peninsula down into North Carolina. That's for tomorrow. That's a level 2 threat, level 1 threat off to the north, so a little bit better chance for some potentially larger hail. We're talking the severe weather threshold for hail, 1-inch diameter or about quarter size. So let's take a look at how things play out here with our Futurecast. And you can see things are quiet. We get up into the 90s. By 6 o'clock, we've got the storms rolling through. So we could see some stray storms out ahead of it. But this particular model, the HER, does pick up on this idea that we're going to see clusters of storms pushing through late afternoon and early evening. Notice this stuff out to the west. We'll see, even though this area, the threat is lower, you could still see some pretty heavy storms pushing down into North Carolina. So I want everybody to be mindful of that and continue to check back with us here at 13 News Now. Either download our mobile news app. It's a great way to stay up on the radar and what's happening. You'll get push alerts from us, and you'll see our updates. Keep checking back right here at 13 News Now Plus, wherever you stream your television. Get your smart TV ready to go and be ramped up. Also, keep those cell phones charged so you can get updates later in the day as needed. Now, by this evening, that moves out. We catch a little break. And I think overnight, it's not looking too bad. Notice a few scattered showers and storms off to the north. Those kind of fizzle off to the north. And we're looking pretty good in Hampton Roads early. But there is that chance, again, for some more development. You'll notice that down to the south with that front coming through, there's still that chance for showers and storms. But we're going to be watching at that point. Drier air comes in, and things look a lot better for us heading into Sunday. Now, that chance for storm Saturday, though, could extend farther north. And you saw, as I just showed you from the Storm Prediction Center, pretty much the entire area, our entire 13 News Now viewing area, under a level 2 threat for tomorrow. Even though that model just depicts it down here, we could see some farther north. So that's a look at our severe weather kind of outlook. Now, for us here in Hampton Roads, main threats, again, gusty winds. I expect some of these cells to produce some outflow. There could be some bowing. Also, that potential for hail and even isolated tornadoes. We're not going to drop our guard on any of it. The flooding threat, a little bit lower, but I do expect some locally heavy rain. But those storms should be progressive. We're not looking at a situation where a cell stalls out. Rather, it'll be cells moving through, coming in, dumping heavy rain, and rolling out. So those are the severe weather threats. Now, I did want to address the issue of hail. And I got this from one of our viewers just asking, you know, if it's supposed to be so hot today, knowing that our forecast was going to be up into the low 90s today, how is there a threat for hail? Olivia Benner asked that, and I wanted to get to that answer. So let's take a look. How does hail form? Remember, it's hot at the surface. Okay, today, that heat does what? It rises. So you've got some rising air, and that, you know, develops. We get, with enough moisture, we get these clouds that develop, and eventually as you get rain, you get these rain showers that develop, and then if you get enough convection, these strong updrafts will carry some of those raindrops up above a freezing level, and those raindrops become little ice drops. Well, the frozen water droplets are carried up, and every time they get above that freezing level, whatever was somewhat liquid or frozen, maybe a coat of water around that little ice particle, freezes, and it gets bigger, almost like it goes up, falls out of the updraft, comes back down, and then it goes up and gets caught in another updraft, freezes again, and you get layers as each time it goes up and down in these updrafts and kind of falls out of them, runs back into more water droplets. It's almost like adding coats of paint to that little tiny speck of ice there, and it grows and grows and grows. The stronger those updrafts, the more times it's going to be lifted back up, and the larger that hail can become before it becomes too heavy for the updrafts and falls. So when you've got a super powerful storm and you've got tremendous updrafts, you can get large hail. Eventually, again, that hail grows to a size that it falls because the updrafts can no longer carry it up high enough to freeze again. It just falls from the sky, and that's what we see. So even though it's warm down at the surface, you get above that freezing level, the tops of those clouds sub-freezing, and that's where that ice forms. Now, we talk about various hail sizes. You have pea-size hail. You get those with thunderstorms sometimes if there's any kind of, cooling aloft and you get those stronger updrafts. You see that somewhat frequently, pea-sized hail. As you take a look, you get up to dime-size or nickel-size hail. We saw some of this across parts of inland areas, Southside Hampton Roads and Southampton. We saw that a couple days ago. That's where you start to see some problems with that hail getting a little bit larger. Once it gets above quarter, that's 1 inch in diameter, okay? Once it gets to that quarter-size hail, this is where we get into the severe parameters. And you can see as you get up, it goes golf ball and ping pong ball size, 1.5 inches to 1 3/4. Hen egg, 2 inch diameter hail, up to tennis balls, 2.5. Baseball, 2 3/4. Softball, 4 inch hail. And as you can see, it goes up to about grapefruit. There's actually been even larger hailstones than that, but these are kind of some common reference points. And I can tell you some of those areas that I was showing you that were hashed out in the central U.S., we're looking at 2 inch diameter hail. So you're talking about basically hen eggs that you'd buy from the store that we're paying so much for these days. Imagine hailstones, chunks of ice the size of eggs crashing down from the sky. You can imagine a lot of damage there potentially. All right, so again, pea-size and marble-size hail, fairly common. It's uncommon that you get nickel or dime-size hail. Rare that you get into this severe, weather criteria, but it does happen. And when we issue that threat for severe storms, this is what we're talking about. Very rare, and then it's exceptionally rare that we go to softball-size hail. All right, we want to take a look at the hot and humid conditions, and it's so important you listen to your body. We talked about this yesterday. Lots of folks cooling down right now. Water temperatures there at the ocean front are in the upper 60s. So it is not too bad down there. You jump into the water, it's chilly, it'll get your attention. But with temperatures warming now already in the upper 70s, and you look at these dew points in the 60s and 70s, that's going to drive our feels like temperatures into the upper 90s today. So I'm looking for a daytime high in Hampton Roads around 92. It's going to feel like it's closer to 100. We'll say upper 90s. This is another kind of element that contributes to this weather impact. We just need folks to know we've got some rough weather to contend with. Now, our feels like temperatures are hot today and pretty hot tomorrow. Behind the front, it will be a drier air mass and somewhat cooler as we get into Monday and Tuesday, much more comfortable. So we just need to hang in there. All right, I want to talk to you some more about the temperature trend. The good news is after that, it does look cooler next week, so I'm pretty excited about that. You remember yesterday we were talking about some wildfires. Let's take this map again so you can get a good look. This is north of Duluth, and I wanted to show you kind of the latest on the wildfire situation. You remember there were a trio of wildfires still burning out of control in that northeastern part of the state. Crews have been battling the flames since Sunday, and so far a combined 32,000 acres have been burned. The Camp House fire near Duluth accounts for half of those acres, about 15,000 burned so far. Jenkins Creek fire has also burned more than 15,000 acres, and the Munger Shaw fire is approaching now 2,000 acres. That fire, at least there's some containment. It's about 25% contained. Others, though, are still zero containment. So what happens next with the smoke? Let's take a look at this model here, and you can see how it is forecast to shift back around. So here's what you can see as the winds eventually shift. Those wildfires, which have been going off to the north, come back around, starts to feed across northern parts of Wisconsin and eventually into Michigan. I wanted to note there's a cluster of intense wildfires up around Winnipeg and off to the north, producing a lot of smoke up there as well. So they're dealing with that wildfire. We'll continue to keep an eye to it and let you know how things are going. All right, we're going to take a look at the tropical activity because, believe it or not, we're now less than 3 weeks away from the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. NOAA is expected to release its 2025 outlook on Thursday, but on average, just to let you know, we see about 14 named storms each season, 7 of those becoming hurricanes, and of those hurricanes, 3 will become major storms. This year, NOAA is already they're hinting that we should expect slightly above average activity. Again, that official release coming out. So I can tell you Colorado State with their previous forecast, and they continue to issue and update those, but they were calling for slightly above normal for all 3 of these categories. We'll see what NOAA has to say in just a bit. And if we are normal, you know, we'd work down through Nestor. That's the 14th name storm. You get above average, you might reach Olga or Pablo, Rebecca, all names in play this year. We will continue to see that. Now, we've got this, all right, and we always get ready and we talk about getting your personal plan. Well, the national plan, a lot of it is based around FEMA. And FEMA, the agency responsible for managing the response to federal disasters, says they're not ready for hurricane season. According to an internal review, FEMA is uncertain about its future because of staffing limitations on hiring on hold. All right, with that going, the agency's former administrator was fired last week. In a conference call with staff obtained by ABC News, the new acting administrator says the hurricane season plans are about 80% complete and that he hopes to close the gap soon. Now, the hurricane hunters are also preparing for the start of the season. And, you know, they're the ones that fly straight into the storms in order to gather valuable data to help with forecasting and research. But have you ever wondered exactly what these aircraft are capable of? Meteorologist Hunter Force has a look at one of their high-tech jets.
NOAA's Gulfstream 4 or G4 jet is a cutting-edge, high-altitude aircraft designed for hurricane forecasting and research. Flying around and above developing tropical systems, this plane helps build an in-depth look of the upper atmosphere piloted by NOAA Corps officers and staffed with engineers and meteorologists. This twin-engine jet can fly up to 45,000 feet and travel nearly 4,000 nautical miles. Its main mission is to collect critical data for the National Hurricane Center and NOAA researchers. One key tool on board is the GPS drop zond, a tube-shaped instrument released from the aircraft. As it falls, it measures temperature, humidity, pressure, and wind by tracking GPS signals. This data helps meteorologists understand the storm's environment and improved forecast models. Another vital instrument is the tail Doppler radar, or TDR. Mounted at the back of the jet, this powerful radar spins as the plane passes near a storm, capturing layered images to reveal a cyclone's internal structure and intensity. Together, the G4's tools provide real-time insights that help forecasters build and better predict storm development and track dangerous hurricanes more accurately. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Hunter Forst.
All right, Hunter, thanks for that report. We will, of course, keep you updated with that newest forecast coming out again on Thursday from NOAA. And if anything does develop, and right now we're in good shape, but if anything does develop going forward, we will, of course, keep you updated. Now for the update on Hampton Roads. And again, our weather impact alert highs today, low 90s. We do have that chance for some isolated to maybe scattered stronger afternoon and early evening storms. I think the best window of opportunity probably between 5 and say 8 o'clock for most of the metro area, but we'll see. Tonight, after those evening storms exit, it's going to become muggy, variably cloudy to partly cloudy, lows near 71. And then tomorrow back up to 90 again, falling dew points late in the day. But showers and storms are going to be possible with that front coming through. We will watch and we will keep you updated. Remember, there's a level 2 threat for tomorrow as well. Models weren't really doing as much with it, but it is something that we will continue to watch. Now, as we take a look at the 7-day forecast, the temperatures will be getting cooler as we go through next week. So we've got some nicer weather to look forward to around Hampton Roads. We got to get through this afternoon and early evening, and then that chance for some more storms. Less humidity late. Much more comfortable on Sunday. We'll call it beautiful. Monday looks awesome, and then Tuesday really nice. Although I did have to bring up the chances for showers Tuesday evening, especially late evening. And they'll be kind of hit and miss. Some scattered showers and storms on Wednesday, and then for Hampton Roads, lingering showers possible on Thursday. Remember, it's important that you stay weather aware. Anybody watching back in the central U.S., Ohio River Valley, Tennessee River Valley, mid-Mississippi River Valley, these areas in particular under the threat of a severe weather outbreak today. We will continue to watch all of this and have more for you from 13 News Now. And here in Hampton Roads, we have our weather impact alert with our potential for severe weather. Remember, you can always get the latest news, traffic, and weather on the go by using the 13 News Now app. Scan the QR code on the screen that you see to download the app now. It's free on the App Store and Google Play. And I'm going to ask you again to tell your friends about 13 News Now Plus right here on your smart TV. Get the 13 News Now Plus app, get that link on your TV, and you will have full access to all of our extended coverage. And we do obviously cover all of the weather with our news hits, but we have so much more available. Our entire staff of meteorologists working throughout the day and around the clock to keep you updated with extended weather coverage on 13 News Now Plus. That's going to do it for today's Weather Desk. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday right here on the Weather Desk.